Hi, this is Brad Straley with Jacksonville For Life. We would like to thank our radio station for allowing us to air this program. Today we have with us Susan B. Anthony List, Eileen, and Lori. Ladies, thank you for being on today.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
It is our pleasure.
Yeah, well, we are so excited to be on your show and to be in Florida educating voters on the life issue and letting them know the importance that plays for the people of faith with regard to the upcoming elections. And so we are going door to door and have been for since November of last year, informing voters on that issue. And just making sure that they know, where the parties stand with their platforms and what they can expect when the elections play out.
That is so important in this election year, and we'll talk a little bit later why we think that is so important. What is the why does the Susan B. Anthony List exist?
The Susan B. Anthony List exists as an answer to an organization called Emily's List, which is a very active and aggressive pro-abortion organization. So we formed in order to ensure that lawmakers and legislation and policy was passed that protected the unborn. So we advocate for the election of pro-life candidates, and we work hard for pro-life legislation. So we have like a 6-point mission. You can visit our website at sbalist.org, and then you can read fully what's on. And I should say that we do have a team in the entire state of Florida going around, and so we are looking for people to join our cause for the next 3 months. Eileen Escalada, who is on the phone, I always say her name wrong. Eileen, I'm so sorry. Escalante is on the phone. She's our field director in the Orlando, Daytona area. And so we have field directors in Miami. We have them in Tampa. We have them statewide to help hire canvassers to go door to door. So just so you guys know that if anybody, any of your listeners are interested, they can get a hold of us. They can get a hold of Eileen simply by sending her an email at eileen@sba-list.org. And they can also reach me at Laurie, and that's Laurie at sba-list.org as well. And that's sba-list.org. And they can, if they don't get those down, they can actually go to the website and say that they want to be a part of our campaign in Florida, and they will put that person in touch with the right person. But one of the things that we feel is very important is to educate the voters on the issue. And as you know, there are two extremely different views on the life issue in this election. One where the Democrats believe in a very strong pro-abortion stance. Some of the top-tier candidates believe in partial birth abortion. They believe in abortion up to and including the moment of birth. I don't think that that's a well-known stance. So it's important for your listeners to know that, that is the option. So you have the Democrats who believe in a very strong abortion policy, abortion on demand, abortion all the way up to birth, and then you have the Republican platform that believes in, the conception. So life begins at conception, and they want to do as much as they can to restrict abortion, especially late-term abortion and abortion on demand. So you have a very strong pro-life candidate on the Republican side and very strong pro-abortion candidates on the Democrat side.
And I agree with you, Lori. If you go out to Google and you put in Democrat platform and you put in Republican platform, you can see for yourself what they're saying is and what they're proud of, what their banner that they are sitting there and promoting, and the Democrats are talking about appointing judges that will keep abortion legal, just like Obama's done with the last 2 Supreme Court justices that are going to be out there pro-abortion votes for the next 30, 40 years. And personally, I always feel the most important thing that a presidential election is going to give us is the opportunity to appoint pro-life judges that are going to repeal eventually Roe versus Wade. Might be, pie in the sky, but guess what? We get there and we end up getting another Obama in there for another 8 years. We're going to end up having at least 4 ultra-leftist Supreme Court justices for the next 30, 40 years. I'm not going to be living. I'm not going to be alive to see Roe versus Wade overturned.
You couldn't be more on the money, and I think that is something that a lot of conservatives and faith-based voters do not understand. This is an election that if the Democrats end up winning on the national level or in the U.S. Senate, we could see the most heinous abortion laws known to man ever. I mean, already the United States is in a group with some of the most horrific offenders of human life, China, with our abortion laws right now. We're like one of 7 countries on the planet that have such unrestricted abortion laws, and it's really horrific. As a matter of fact, Eileen forwarded me a email this morning of some of the things that went on at the DNC last week, and you're not going to believe this. One of the now I'm taking this on authority because I did not actually watch this, but this says that the president of NARAL, which is a very pro-abortion organization, Elise Hogue, took the stage and proudly shared that her child was killed by abortion. And then it says the crowd, the DNC, the Democrats in that audience erupted in applause.
And I'm not surprised. I don't want to cut you off. But, these are the same people that booed, not just this past convention, but 4 years ago, when someone of faith, I don't even know what faith or how much faith, but someone of faith did the invocation, they booed.
Yes. And they voted 3 times to take God out of their platform.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Okay, so I'm getting the cart before the horse, so, help me, and I'm going to ask you to say this all day long. How do we sit there and get followers of Christ to, 1, know this, and 2, remember this come election time?
Well, we're doing our best to get the word out, and again, we are hiring as many people as we possibly can to help us take this message to the voters. I think it's important to note, Brad, that in our efforts in Florida, we've hit nearly 250,000 doors, 250,000 doors of voters, and so we are going across all demographics. We actually are going to Democrat doors, and those are because there are Democrats who are pro-life, and they have, for some reason, have not recognized that their party is not pro-life. And so, we're going to what we call persuadable Democrat doors, saying, listen, do you know this about the platform of your party? And I will tell you, in that, talking to those people, once we're educating those people on this issue, they are in large majority saying, you know what, there's no way that I can vote for Democrats now. So our campaign is very effective. The thing that we need, Brad, is we need more people. Eileen needs to hire, another, 50 people to go in the field between now and Election Day, and we're paying $10 an hour and 30 cents a mile. And so, if you have some of your listeners out there that are wanting to help, across the state of Florida, regardless of where you live, we are making sure to hire people and get them in the field and take the word. When we're talking to voters, we have 76% of the people that we talk to at their door who want to reallocate Planned Parenthood funds. We have 87% of people in Florida that think that late-term abortion should be limited. That those numbers are massive, Brad, if you think about the general population. Now, we're not talking about engaged. These are low-propensity voters. These aren't people like yourself and a lot of times your listeners who are engaged on the issues, who vote consistently, and these are, very low-propensity voters that we're going to their door and ensuring that they know the importance of getting to the polls. And so, we can't say enough how much we appreciate you allowing to come on your show and say, listen, we just want to make sure that people know the issue. The second thing, Brad, would be an admonition to voters to stop with this insanity of, I can't vote for this particular person or this particular person because they're not 100% in my camp.
Amen.
Let me tell you what happens when the top of the ticket on the Democrat side gets elected. We end up with abortion laws that are unfettered. Unfettered access for our daughters, unfettered access for young children without parental consent. You're talking about the slaying of literally millions of unborn Americans, or in some cases, being born Americans, at the hands of people who don't see the sanctity of life. And so it's really unconscionable to me that people of faith can sit back and say, well, because this person that's, at the top of the Republican ticket, or this person doesn't agree with me 100% or doesn't have the faith and values that I have. Well, you know what? The Senate, we're really, Brad, in a place where we could lose the Senate, the U.S. Senate, because voters are saying, well, I'm not going to vote because, it doesn't fall in lockstep with me. That kind of attitude is what has gotten us a Clinton presidency before, when Bill Clinton was elected. It's what has happened to us to get Barack Obama elected for the last 8 years. Is people of faith standing on the sidelines demanding that we have a candidate that, agrees with them 100%. Well, let me just say this. There is never going to be a candidate in either party that people agree with 100% and walks the line. And I would submit, Brad, that your listeners and the people that are in our pro-life movement, I don't know that they know anybody in their life, if it's their spouse or their children, that they agree with 100%. So I don't know why we would, demand that our candidates be somebody that be perfectly aligned with every nook and cranny of our own policy persuasion as we move forward in elections.
Yeah, I don't know of anyone that is 100% on board with me, and that might be a blessing. This is Brad Straley with Jacksonville For Life. Today we have Eileen and Lori with the Susan B. Anthony list, and we do want to go ahead and let everyone know how we voted in 2012, which is very similar to how we voted in 2008 and 2004. Over 50% of Catholics who voted in the presidential election voted for the pro-abortion candidate. This is one of the reasons we wanted you guys on today. How can we change that to people of faith, followers of Christ, know this party is pro-abortion and this party is pro-life? And when I say these two parties, there's really four. There's the Democrat, there's the Green, there's the Libertarian, and there's the Republican. And I said earlier, I think this is 1992 again, where a large number of people are going to be going to that Libertarian. And I'm going to let you give your input, and then I'm going to read one sentence from the Libertarian platform, and I'll quit reading for the day.
I find that, Brett, I really find that disconcerting, and I'll tell you why. The average voter in America does not do enough due diligence before they go to the polls. It's been my experience that people find a news source that they feel trusting of, and they don't go any further than that. So, depending on what it is that you listen to or watch, people really do not dig into. And so just your admonition at the beginning to go to the websites of these parties and look at their platforms. I mean, the Democrat Party plainly says that they want to empower women to have abortions or I forget what they call it when they want it. And so, go to the Libertarian website and look at their platform and talk about go to the Green Party's website, and then go to the Republican Party's website and look at their platform. So anybody that professes to be a person of faith that the life issue is a litmus test for their voting, they honestly only have one choice. Right. And that is to vote with the Republican Party and make sure that they are voting for the pro-life candidates this time. Susan B. Anthony is I need to say this, but Susan B. Anthony is a bipartisan organization. And so when we find pro-life Democrats, we support them wholeheartedly because we feel like that there's even an organization, Brad, that you should know that are Democrats for Life. And I think that those people are trying hard to look at their party and say, what has gone on? Where in the world, with 80 to 85% of Americans being pro-life, do you get off, kidnapping our party and saying that we are the party of partial birth abortion?
And taxpayers paying for it. Last sentence I'm going to read, I promise. And this is from the Libertarian platform. They have one sentence about abortion. It says, recognizing that abortion is a sensitive issue that people can hold good faith views on all sides. Okay, tough to swallow that. We believe that government should be kept out of the matter, leaving the question to each person for their own contentious consideration. Now, when I read that, I think of Judges 21:25, where it says, every man did that which was right in his own eyes. And of course, we know what happens after the book of Judges. So, I think anyone that is, not happy with how the presidential candidate for the Republicans does his hair and they want to vote for Libertarian, guess what? That presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party in 2016 is as pro-abortion as the Democrat. And if you go out there, and I won't read it for time's sake, the Green Party, they're even more abortion-minded than the Democrat Party in 2016. You can kill babies no matter what stage of pregnancy, nor does it depend on the mother's age. You can have a 12-year-old girl go have an abortion without the parents' consent, and the taxpayers pay for it.
Unconscionable. And for the American voter to not know that is really disheartening. And so, again, Brad, we make a plea for you guys to help us find people to work. We do pay $10 an hour and 30 cents a mile. Eileen will work with them to train them to go into the field. Eileen, if you just want to briefly, go over what it is exactly, succinctly, what you do when you train somebody to go in the field, that'd be great. Are you there? She may have muted herself.
Okay. Oh, let me ask you this.
So, go ahead.
I was going to say, I've walked door to door since '98. It's difficult for me to remember the angst I had, but I knew there was doing something that I've never done before, and I don't know the response. I don't know, what's going to happen when I go to a door. Someone's angry. There's a dog barking at me. What do you tell folks that, or might be interested in working with you guys for the next 3 months? How can you sit there and explain how the job is going to go?
Well, it's awesome. A matter of fact, we have right now in Florida about 150 canvassers in the field, and that is statewide. And so we canvass 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day. Canvassers can pick their own hours. They can pick for a lot of it, they can pick the areas that they work in, the high-density population centers of Florida, Orlando, Tampa, Miami, Daytona, the cities in the Panhandle. I mean, we don't have people that canvass in rural areas just because it's not productive. But what I can say to that is we have an app where they can read the script, and Eileen and the other field directors in the state of Florida spend a lot of time training and role-playing with people so that they are comfortable when they go to the door. We really do insist that our canvassers are pro-life, because we feel like when they go to the door of the voter, that their conviction about the issue transcends to that voter and helps that voter see that this is really, truly something that needs to be considered as we move forward. So it's imperative that they, be a pro-life proponent. We train them that, if there's a fence or a dog, to skip those houses. And you would be surprised, Brad, we run into very little pushback. I won't say that we never get somebody that says, hey, get off my porch, or no, I don't want to talk to you. But that is a very negligible amount of the people that we talk to. And I'll tell you why, because we use a modeling of people who the life issue is important to them, and they just are either Democrats that are, uninformed and we think need to have more information on the issue, or they are low-propensity GOP voters. So, we don't have a lot of problem with, people that are angry at the door.
Great.
So really encourage your listeners to get involved. This is a really important campaign. It is something that is working very well at the door. You can see our conversion rate is, 70 to 80% of people who we talk to, have some sense of they didn't know the information that we had. We get more often than not people saying, thank you so much for doing what you do. Thank you for being out here and giving this information.
Great. Someone listening and wants to learn more about the job, or someone wants to go ahead and do this in Northeast Florida, Orly, how can they get in touch with you guys?
Okay, well, they can get in touch with me. My email address is Laurie at sba-list.org. That's Laurie at sba-list.org. Or they can also get in touch with Eileen if they live in the Orlando, Daytona, that side of the state, for canvassing. And her email is Eileen, which is EILEEN at sba-list.org. They can visit our website at sba-list.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. I can give out my cell phone number. My personal cell phone number is 501-258-6353. Feel free to call or text that number, and I can put you in touch with the field director that will be in your area. Again, if it's in the Orlando, Daytona area on the east coast of Florida there, that would be Eileen, and she's great to work with. She's very passionate about the issue, and we're just so blessed to have her on our team.
Great.
And so, but we sure thank you, Brad, for allowing us to be on your show and talk to your audience and encourage them to get the message out about the life issue. And there are really only two choices in this election, and that is a pro-abortion side, which will, make sure that we have unfettered abortion laws, even up to and including the moment of birth, and then a side that will help overturn Roe versus Wade and put restrictions on it so our young women and children in this nation will be protected against the heinous lies of those who purport that abortion is a good thing.
You are 100% correct, Laurie. I want to thank you two both for joining us today and for all you do to promote a culture of life. I want to thank everyone for listening to Jacksonville For Life today. For more information about local pro-life efforts, please visit us at jacksonvilleforlife.org. Until next time, do something, save babies in Jacksonville.